If you had to describe high school, what it taught you, what it felt like, what it looked like, what you hated or loved, in a sentence or less, what words would you pick? Would it be something like,
searching for a boy in high school is as useless as searching for meaning in a Pauly Shore movie?
Or,
it's a little childish and stupid, but then so is high school.
or more like,
all of you people, there is a big world out there, bigger than prom, bigger than high school.
well, for me, what high school left me were the perks of being a wallflower.
So what are you gonna do when you get out of this place?
Well, my Aunt Helen said I should be a writer, but I don't know what I'd write about.
You could write about us.
The Perks of Being a Wallflower, or Perks for short, was originally a novel written by Stephen Chbosky and published in 1999. It follows Charlie, an introverted writer, through his first year of high school as he's adopted into a loving friend group known as the Wallflowers. He traverses the highs and lows of freshman year as he learns what it means to be outspoken about one's feelings, experiences, and wants. The film adaptation was released in theaters in 2012, but I can't recall when I saw it, if it was before or during high school. I couldn't for the life of me remember my first impressions of this movie. What I do remember though is how long and passionate my attachment to it began to grow. I like to think that when we're going into high school, we imagine it like, oh, it's gonna be like Mean Girls, or it's gonna be like Ferris Bueller's Day Off. But when we leave, we look back and just know that we've learned the perks of being a wallflower. A quick disclaimer, if you're as dummy as I was for a long time, a wallflower is a person who has no one to dance with or who feels shy, awkward, or excluded at a party. Or according to Patrick, and my favorite definition,
you see things and you understand. You're a wallflower.
I didn't think anyone noticed me.
Now if you want the big clue as to what makes this not only a perfect adaptation, but an incredible film as well, well, just look at this. Yeah, not only did the man write the book, but he wrote the adapted screenplay for the movie, and then he took in the directing reins himself. There were many offers, but I couldn't let it go. I don't know how to sell something this personal, and especially what the book meant to the fans, I couldn't let it go to anyone else. I owed the fans a movie that was worthy of their love for the book. And this movie really did go on to define a generation and a half. I mean, you mention it to anyone from 16 to 25 years old and they look like they're just gonna start crying on the spot. What Stephen was able to pull off for us was downright groundbreaking and a huge breath of fresh air for the high school film. In a world of outlandish high school comedies, all reminiscent of John Hughes' coming-of-age stories, or just stupid dummy PSAs, The Perks of Being a Wallflower came around and said, what if we could capture what it was really, really like? Now, side note, it was hard for me to ignore this, and I don't want to tarnish the purpose of this video, so I'm gonna mention it, but the award for most authentic high school film was actually a tie for me. Superbad, a film that came out merely years before, is also the most authentic high school film ever made, but on the other side of the spectrum.
Why the fuck would it be between that or Muhammad? Why don't you just pick a common name like a normal person?
Muhammad is the most commonly used name on earth. Read a fucking book for once.
While Superbad explored high school in an honest way through the lens of a comedic duo, and sometimes comedic trio, The Perks of Being a Wallflower showed it through a dramatic, isolated perspective. And I just happen to connect to that more. Remember, film is a subjective medium, just like any other art form. I could be wrong, and Perks may not be that real or honest in its interpretation of you, but it was real to me. And these people as well. I was looking for terrific young actors, but also really generous young people. That was very important. This movie doesn't have bad guys and divas and attitudes. It doesn't have that. It has people, like real people, and that's important. This movie is perfectly cast for the tone that it's going for. I mean, not only are the actors actually close to their on-screen age group and not 40-year-olds playing 18-year-olds, but their performances are incredible. I completely believed Logan Lerman to be this stoic, broken down shell of an adolescent. What he's able to show in just these subtle expressions and mannerisms is heartbreaking and should prove to anyone how much is actually going on in our minds at this age. Then he takes it another step further and not only respectfully, but accurately depicts post-traumatic stress disorder.
How do you stop seeing it?
A mental illness that I think deserves a lot more attention and treatment to those at a younger age. It's a beautiful thing to see so much care, work, and detail be put into a performance, and every ounce of it pays off. It was just sad to see such an incredible actor then be shoved aside afterward in favor of other and worse Caucasian counterparts. And then we get to Emma Watson and Ezra Miller as Sam and Patrick. Just perfect. Since they met, these two were just immediately their characters.
I mean, just from my perspective, it seemed like we walked into that room at that point, and we were the roles. We were meeting each other as the characters.
Their radiant and honest chemistry together as brother-sister is so apparent throughout, and you can feel such a rich history between them at every banter.
How long have you been boyfriend and girlfriend?
He's not my boyfriend. He's my stepbrother.
You grow so attached to their energy and presence that it's heartbreaking to see things like this. Or this.
Things that have nothing to do with you, but it's best if you just stay away for a while.
I just love them, and I can't get enough of them. Now quick character bonus round. Katara from Avatar. Love.
Hey, thanks for the crumb.
Young Neil. A little weird in the jock role, but love. Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd? I love this guy, and this is easily my favorite role of his. He's so caring, insanely likable, and represents a huge demographic of overlooked teachers and professors.
This was my favorite book growing up. This is my copy, but I want you to have it.
The sympathetic ones. I swear to this day, I almost cry every time he says he might move to New York in the movie. Then there's Alice, my second crush in the film, also a film major bonus points. This guy.
He knows me.
Enough said. The cast is just all around spot on and really captures the people I knew in high school. The people I loved, hated, and we're just kind of there.
He knows me.
Now, I'm not going to say that I experienced anything even close to what Charlie or the rest of these characters did, but I myself had an honestly terrible freshman year, all the way through. But just being able to escape to a film that had an ensemble of high school characters I could actually relate to was cathartic and empowering for a young Alex, and I'm sure many others. How could an incredibly authentic cast not be supported by incredibly authentic filmmaking though? Thanks to the natural craft behind Stephen and his team's work, we were able to see one of the most accurate representations of high school ever put to film. And yeah, it was shot on film. Everything from the coloring, lighting, compositions, editing, post-production, costuming, etc. It's all executed with such realism, yet never diminished in beauty due to that. They take the ingrained decorations and settings of high school, but use every tool at their disposal to make it the most visually stunning we've ever seen it. Like, how do they show the captivating beauty of Sam in her first appearance without being ridiculously flamboyant? Well, just backlight her with a stadium light and shoot her from Charlie's perspective. How do they contrast what Charlie feels emotionally at school then with his friends? Cold, then warm coloring. How do they show the crumbling within Charlie's mind without being pandering or melodramatic? Edit it like a master and take your time with it. Every choice that went into the filmmaking of Perks is so overwhelmingly purposeful that it all combines together to create an atmosphere and tone we're also sadly familiar with in parts and comfortable in others. Now, I guess this is going to be a new segment on these commentaries, but I can't help but tear up at this dialogue.
Why do I and everyone I love pick people who treat us like we're nothing?
We accept the love we think we deserve.
You can't just sit there and put everybody's lives ahead of yours and think that counts as love.
There is so much pain, and I don't know how to not notice it. I know I'm quiet, and I know I should speak more. If you knew the things that were in my head most of the time, you'd know what it really meant, how much we're alike, and how we've been through the same things. Even if you didn't know what I was talking about, or know someone who's gone through it, you made me not feel alone. Because I know there are people who say all these things don't happen. And there are people who forget what it's like to be 16 when they turn 17. I know these will all be stories someday, and our pictures will become old photographs. We'll all become somebody's mom or dad. But right now, these moments are not stories. This is happening. I am here, and I am looking at her. And she is so beautiful. I can see it. There's one moment when you know you're not a sad story. You are alive.
And normally in these adaptations, the credit would be split in half via 2 writers, 2 minds, and 2 experiences, but this is all from Chbosky. Every line just reverberates to your body and mind, and you can feel every ounce of pain that this guy had to go through. And come on, this?
And in this moment, I swear, we are infinite.
Is one of, if not the, most iconic line in all of teen cinema. This whole movie is iconic, and just so honest to who we really were, or are as teenagers. Every moment, every scene, is forever going to be with us in our generation. The living room routine, the tunnel ritual, the Rocky Horror Picture Show, drugs, and Heroes by David Bowie. Sorry, Jojo Rabbit, you're incredible, but Perks of Being a Wallflower will forever own this song for me. Ooh, but how do these indie kids not know who David Bowie is by now? Shut up. Oh my gosh, you dummies. Who cares? This ending is perfect. It's beautiful. I love this movie. I cry every single time I watch it. It makes me feel warm inside. It makes me feel like the strawberry dress. It just makes me feel, I couldn't put it any better, infinite. So while Her may have taught me that it's okay to sit down and cry every once in a while in your room, Perks taught me that sometimes you just need to get your back off that wall and experience something worth writing about.
I will be king.
Thank you so much to everyone and anyone who made it to the end or just any part of this video. I can't even express how much it means to me if you're keeping up with my projects and stuff, and I appreciate every one of you so much. Bonus points to those who finished this video though. Please like and subscribe though, and comment any suggestions. Really, just comment whether you want any movies you want me to talk about or any topics. I am open to anything at this point since I'm just starting out, so I will listen to you and I will absolutely take note. Please check out my previous commentary on why Her is my favorite film though, and any previous edits I have. Right now I have one on Interstellar, set to a very special song, and one of a ghost story, which is more of a trailer, set to Cellophane by FK Twigs, with Queen. And I'm gonna stick to a schedule of an edit and commentary every other week, so stay tuned for that, and follow my Instagram stories for any updates on this channel. I'll catch you on the next Sad Boy Hours though, and thank you, and stay infinite.